Hey everyone, welcome back to Money Vibes with Vi. If you're new here, I'm Vi, and today I'm sharing my financial goals for 2026. In today's video, I will be laying out my goals for 2026 and creating systems to track them. By doing so, I plan on setting myself up for an incredible financial year and also empowering you to do the same. So grab your coffee or tea or whatever your preferred drink is, get a snack, get comfortable, and let's dive into my 2026 financial goals, how I'm tracking them, and most importantly, my action plan for making sure it happens. Before we dive in, let's review some steps for goal planning. Step 1, brainstorm your goals. Here is where you're free to let your imagination run wild. What do you want to accomplish? What ideas do you have? What would be nice to do? Step 2, select your goals. What is it specifically that you want to accomplish? Although everything you wrote in step 1 might be wonderful, you have to decide where you're going to start. Step 3 now, we're going to plan the goals. In step 2, it was sort of like a wish list. Now in step 3, we're beginning to put action behind what you want to accomplish. That's what we're doing in step 3. Now step 4, now it's not a wish and you have a plan, but how are you going to make sure that there's follow through? You have to track your goal. You have to track your progress. You might even have to shift gears or scrap and or adjust the plan. All of this comes from step 4. Now into step 5. Why might you have to scrap or adjust the plan? Well, because things might happen that you are not expecting. One of the ways you ensure you can complete your goals is to make sure that you understand what challenges and obstacles you may face and how to prepare yourself to either overcome or avoid them altogether. And all of these steps together are going to get us ready for 2026 and making sure that we are successful in our financial goals. So for the first step, we're going to brainstorm our financial goals. I've written out some ideas that I've had. I've taken my financial goals and broken them into several categories. This ensures that my goals do not overlap. This includes savings, debt payoff, investments and or retirement, income and or cash flow, and financial education. So take a moment, brainstorm your goals. You could use these categories as a guide. Now on to step 2, selecting our goals. Now that we have brainstormed our goals, we need to select which ones we are going to pursue. This doesn't mean that we can't accomplish any of our remaining goals. However, to ensure that we complete what we set out to do, we must select and focus on a few at a time. So my first goal in the category of savings is to save $10,000. This goal is to replenish my emergency fund and create more financial security for myself. One thing I've learned is that having extra funds for things that come up, whether expected or otherwise, is one way to keep myself financially afloat. Last year I moved out and I now live on my own. In this process, I've dipped into money that I had previously saved up. This year, I would like to replenish those funds by saving up $10,000. Goal number 2 is in the debt payoff category. I would like to pay off $10,000 worth of credit card debt. Currently, I owe various loans and debts, credit cards, student loans, and personal loans. But with high interest rates, I'm going to focus on my credit card debts. Goal number 3 is in the investment and retirement goal category. My goal here is to max out my 2025 and 2026 Roth IRA. This year, I'm focusing on my Roth IRAs. I was unable to max it out last year. I would like to rectify this in the new year and also maximize my contribution for 2026. For my 2025 Roth IRA, I have until tax day of the 2026 calendar year to make my maximum contribution. Goal number 4 is in the income and cash flow category. That's going to be to increase my annual income. I don't really think I can confidently place a target amount on this yet, but I would like to generate additional income this year. I think it's reasonable to attempt to do so mainly by focusing on finding additional work. Goal number 5 is in the financial education category. That goal is to read 4 personal finance books. This might seem less tangible than other goals, but knowledge and continuing to learn can help me turn my goals into reality and empower me with more knowledge, tools, and strategies. Now, let's go into step 3, which is planning our goals. We're going to take a deep dive, and first, let's start with our savings. So for my savings goal, I had picked the $10,000 emergency fund savings goal. This is reasonable and attainable for me. In order to save that 10 grand, I would need to save approximately $833 every month or $385 per bi-weekly paycheck. Second goal in the debt payoff category. For that, I'm going to focus on my smallest balance first for my credit card debts. This is technically the snowball method, where the focus is paying off the debts with the lowest balance amount and building your way up to the largest amount. My credit cards have the highest interest rates of all my liabilities, so my plan here is to contribute roughly $833 each month or $385 per bi-weekly paycheck. By paying off $10,000 worth of credit card debt, this should completely pay off my Capital One cards, Best Buy card, and about 20 to 30% of my Discover card. My third goal is in the investment retirement goal category, and that was to max out my 2025 and 2026 Roth IRA. For this, I would need to contribute a total of $11,900, $4,400 to my 2025 Roth IRA and $7,500 to my 2026 Roth IRA. This would be the equivalent of roughly $458 per biweekly paycheck. Goal number 4 is to increase my annual income. But first, let's talk strategy. Some ways to do this would be increasing my main source of income, either replacing my current job with a better job, or negotiating a raise in my current position, getting a part-time job or a side gig, searching for alternative income sources such as businesses, reselling, or other tactics. Now, let's step back from overall strategy and get personal. In 2025, I got my registered nurse degree, or RN, so I've increased my earning capacity by roughly 5 to 10%, but I'm currently employed as a licensed practical nurse. I would like to look for a registered nurse job or negotiate a raise using my upgraded degree, or negotiate a raise in my current position. I would like to also find part-time employment. First half of the year, I'd like to focus on getting a job in with my new degree. My action plan includes things like career advancement, so that would be basically seeking that additional registered nurse job. Depending on the job I acquire, the stress level, the time commitment, I plan on either keeping my current job on a part-time or per diem basis, or getting creative and kind of doing something different. There's also the opportunity for side hustles, figuring out different additional ways to make money in that category, and skill development. I would like to either advance my degree further, that could be a master's or a doctorate, or consider acquiring other skills that can help me professionally, whether they are in my career or not. This can be certificates that allow me to specialize in different areas of healthcare, or just acquiring skills overall that can put me in an entirely different career field. If anyone listening is an advanced degree nurse, or nurses that have moved into different careers, can you please leave some suggestions or feedback in the comments? I would love to hear some ideas. Goal number 5 is financial education. My plan here is to read 1 book a quarter to get me to my 4 books a year. This gives me time to make sure I read it. I currently read fiction for about 30 plus minutes a day, give or take. My plan is to add an additional 10 to 15 minutes of a finance book or other nonfiction book per day. I can always read more. The plan here is basically to both challenge myself, but also give myself time to implement what I'm learning, review the materials. So I think 4 books for this year is reasonable. I have picked 4 books to read for this year. As a disclaimer, I have no idea whether these are worth their weight or not. These are just things I briefly saw with some research and decided that I would commit to trying to read. First up, Money Rules, the simple path to lifelong security. Secondly, Make Money Move, a guide to financial wellness. Third, Your Journey to Financial Freedom, a step-by-step guide to achieving wealth and happiness. And lastly, Finance for the People. So we have brainstormed our goals, we have selected which ones we're going to focus on, and created a plan for them. Now let's discuss how we're going to track our goals. Overall, I plan to check my progress on the first of every month by doing monthly financial resets on the channel, and I will adjust as needed. Next, a bi-weekly budget breakdown, which will align with my payday. During that time, I'll review budgeted and actual spending, update my tracking spreadsheets, and transfer money to complete my goals. Now let's dive into those goals. First up is savings. I am going to use my Monarch app to track my savings goal. I have linked this goal to my Wealthfront high yield savings account. As I add money to that account, the Monarch app will calculate my percentage progress. It'll also calculate monthly contributions needed to complete my goal by the target date. The current APY for my Wealthfront account is 3.25%. I like using the Monarch app to track my goals because I also use it to track a multitude of my finances, and it's just an easier way for me to check in on my progress regularly. If you are interested in either Monarch Money or Wealthfront, I will link them below. But just large disclaimer, you can use whatever finance tracking app works for you. Monarch Money is a paid app. It may not be worth it to you. You can try it or not try it, and there are also plenty of free or lower cost financial tracking apps that work just as well. Same thing with Wealthfront. It's just the high yield savings account that I use and I enjoy, but there are some with even higher rates. There are some with maybe more perks. So do your own research as to what may work for you. Please let me know below what are your favorite high yield savings accounts and what are your favorite financial apps for tracking, or financial websites too, as well as just different methods for that. Also for savings, I do plan on using an emergency fund tracker in my binder, which I will be setting up on the channel, which I'm so excited for. So stay tuned for that. So there's a bunch of different ways you could do this. It doesn't even have to be technology based. It could be based around paper, pen. In the past, I've used a handwritten finance tracker in a notebook. Whatever works for you. I'm just explaining how I'm choosing to track. Goal number 2 would be in the debt payoff category. Again, tracking that through the Monarch app. Main focus here is one credit card at a time. Those have a smaller balance months, and I think they are good starter items to clear out the way. Goal number 3, my Roth IRA investments. Again, Monarch Money app for the goal tracking. I like it so far. I've used it in the past. Also, my Roth IRA is currently in my Vanguard account. Excuse me. I use Vanguard for my Roth IRA. It does not matter which you use, but that app, and I believe a lot of the others, will tell you your progress both percentage-wise as well as out of the maximum contribution amount, which for the year 2026 is $7,500. For goal number 4, increasing my annual income. I plan on using a monthly income tracking spreadsheet in my binder. I'm going to track each income source as well. The main goal here is just creating small objectives for myself month over month to keep myself on track to either apply to jobs or explore different career options. Goal number 5 is financial education. I plan on tracking my reading using the Bookly app. I already use the app for tracking my own personal reading, whether fiction or otherwise, so it's a simple integration for me. It is also a paid app. I believe they have a free version. You don't need to use an app for book tracking. It is definitely not necessary. I do, however, encourage, if you are going to read these nonfiction books, have a space or place to write down thoughts, your reactions, what you're learning. It could be a good idea in terms of allowing you to reflect and remind yourself of what you've learned after you've read and reinforcing it as well. That is definitely something I plan on doing. So Bookly app for tracking the reading and my progress, and personal journaling and reflecting for tracking and meditating upon what I'm learning. Now for the final step, step 5, which is overcoming obstacles and anticipating challenges. Life will always happen, good or bad. One way to be successful in any challenge is anticipating and preparing for what may go wrong. So in general, let's anticipate and prepare for what may be some potential obstacles. For me, my first obstacle would be unexpected expenses. My buffer account at $2,500 for overdraft protection and $500 in my checking at all times for any withdrawals I forgot to take account for. These will protect me in the case of this. That is how I plan to prevent this obstacle from causing me to stop. Another way to meet this challenge for me would be reviewing my statements. What caused me to overdraft? What did I not take account for? Is that a recurring bill that I'm not adding to my bill calendar or that I'm not keeping in mind, and then adjusting as needed? My second obstacle would be a loss of motivation. Visual progress trackers, apps, and accountability in the form of payday cash stuffing videos and videos on this channel I hope will help keep me motivated. Overall, I want to learn and continue to celebrate small wins. We can often see the goals that we're trying to accomplish as these large, daunting tasks, and in the process of trying to accomplish them, we ignore or refuse to acknowledge the small wins and progress that we make. In order to stay motivated, we need to celebrate our small wins on our way to our bigger victories. Obstacle number 3 would be an income disruption. This could be anything from a layoff to a cut in hours. For this, it would be my buffer account as a main cushion, as well as finding and focusing on that additional stream of income. Although I do need to save a certain amount per pay period, I still have other goals and financial needs that I will need to meet. In order to ensure that I can pay for my current bills and needs, I will be using my budget template per pay. During each pay period, I will pay for current bills and needs, and then use the amount remaining to pay for my financial goal. So the actual amount that is contributed to each goal will depend solely on how much money I have left over to spend after my bills and other needs. Also, I plan on focusing on only one goal at a time. So first off would be maxing out my 2025 Roth IRA. This is because I only have until tax day to do so. Second goal would be to eliminate some credit card debt. For this, I plan on paying off approximately $5,000, then saving for my emergency fund an additional $5,000. The reason why I plan to do this is because in the past, I have focused solely on paying off credit cards, and then in doing so, something has always occurred or happened that has required a larger amount of money than I've had saved, and as a result, I will reach for credit cards and that balance will go up again to pay for that emergency or thing that has come up. So I want to, in this year, kind of balance the two of them to prevent me from reaching for my cards. I will focus on my emergency fund, and to make sure I'm paying down that debt, I will also still focus on paying down that credit card debt. So I'll eliminate the credit card debt by about $5,000, then I'll build up the emergency fund by about $5,000, then go back to my debt goal and eliminate the remaining $5,000 worth of credit card debt. Then I'll start focusing on contributing to my Roth IRA until it's maxed out. I would rather not carry over every single contribution into the following calendar year. So that would be my next focus. And then finally, if I am able to, I want to try to reach that $10,000 emergency fund by the end of the year. Now, the main goal area that is going to be the biggest challenge for me is going to be my debt payoff. In full transparency, I already paid off my Capital One and Best Buy cards in the past. I was unable to keep those balances at zero. In the past, I would pay those down. However, I would not pay off the accumulating balance. So let's say I had credit card A, B, and C. I would pay off A, then move on to B, then move on to C. And because I do have some bills and auto withdrawals on card A and B, I would not pay those additional balances. I would focus solely on paying credit card C with all additional funds. As a result, this would creep up. Then I didn't have enough in my cushion for spending for emergencies or different sinking funds for things I knew were coming up. So I would use my newly reduced credit card balance, because I now have all that money, quote unquote, available to spend, which is not, how to see it. I would use my newly lowered credit card balance to then purchase what I needed in a case of emergencies or in case there was something I did not properly budget for. So I would like to avoid this cycle this year, so I plan on paying off my balance and continuing to keep all balances paid at zero. Then I also want to set up and be more specific for my sinking funds to avoid relying on debt and credit. And lastly, the biggest strategy this year to help me accomplish my debt payoff goal is going to be no new debt. I will not be adding any debt in 2026. That is everything. This is my complete financial game plan for 2026. My 5 clear goals with specific tracking methods and actionable strategies to make it all happen. The key to achieving financial goals isn't just setting them up. It's creating systems that make success inevitable. And that's what I'm trying to do here. I'd love to hear from you in the comments. What are your financial goals for 2026? What's one thing you're committing to change? If you found this helpful or you have any comments or feedback, please leave it down below. Like the video, subscribe to follow along on this journey. I will be posting updates to show you exactly how I'm progressing. Thank you for watching, and here's to an amazing 2026.